Hey everyone, Kevin again with Words of the Age. Welcome back to the channel. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reading the visions themselves just as I got them to leave for you to sit with. Now I have to say a lot of these I don't have interpretations on them. I don't know what they mean. So I'm just going to read them out to you in sections. So I'm going to start with the first ones that I got. It's not that I haven't had visions before, but I've never had them like this and in succession. Because it wouldn't be just one vision, there'd be multiple visions. So these are the first ones that came to me at the beginning of the year. It was January 24th, 2012. It was vision 1. Again, when these come, it's like, it's not like I see them with like my waking eye, and it's not like I see them like in a dream. They're visual. They're right here, and they're very immediate, and they're very clear. So that's how I see them. This is vision 1. 2 men in protective gear, like radiation suits, were spraying purple liquid on the ground. Then I saw a rough yellow painted wall that had the same color purple squiggles on it. Like so, the purple liquid still was the same color as like on the walls, and there were red markings every so often on it. But mostly, it was just these squiggly purple lines. These moved in and out of my sight, like I was seeing them through fingers moving like before my eyes. So I'd see the vision like sort of like this. And I saw a man in a smooth mask that was checkered with the same yellow and blue. It then went on to vision 2. A man was disassembling some dark, ornate wooden headboards. There were 2 of them. I couldn't see his face, just his arms. He began to roll them up in this dark, rich fabric. He kept rolling them and rolling them. Soon underneath was revealed like this more shiny fabric that had this distinct vertical lines woven into it. Then pulling back, the entire thing began to shimmer and shake. It was just like it became alive. And then I saw multiple faces, like world leaders in the style of like propaganda posters, like one right after the other. They were mostly Asian faces, and one was a heavy-set male in his 30s or 40s. Then I saw the hooves of a rearing red horse from below, like I was underneath and it was up above me, and it was about to trample something. It then went on to the third vision. And there was a smooth, expensive, dark metal brass door. Again, very rich, very polished. And it had the relief of a stick figure family on it. So the door opened, and there was this black and red curtains over this entrance. And I entered in, and a small rectangular pit was on the floor. So I went in, it was dark, like a black box theater. So there was this pit on the floor, like maybe about 1.5 feet deep, and there was a multitude of black sticks, like dowel rods, with like dark maroon tips in them, and they were all like in perfect order. The sticks were probably about 3 feet long, like 1/2 inch in diameter, like little magic wands, like stuck, all in order. Though the rest of the room was dark, everything felt very expensive. Again, everything felt very, very rich. Then they suddenly rose into the air in a swarm and began to move in this pulsing motion. Like a pale green light shone in them as if they were being pulsed. So as they moved, they began to pulse green. And then briefly I saw white-gloved hands conducting the pulsing, and the man himself was wearing a tux, top hat, and a white mask. So as you saw these sticks that kind of pulled back, you saw this hand, the man in the top hat and the mask and all the rest of it. He's conducting. It's like he's conducting these things. Soon the sticks turned into these thin-colored, wavy strands, like kind of like L-wire, and it was all maroon. This went on for a while, and then they suddenly dropped down a large, dark chute into the ground about 2 feet in diameter. So they dropped down in this pit. Then there were these strands of light the whole way going down. So they fell down, but these kind of strands of light still kind of connected it up through the shaft. That might have been pale green, but at the bottom was a pool of these wavy light strands, all kind of curled up and moving. And it just, like they sat there like in a little electrical kind of spaghetti soup. And again, this went on for a while. It just kind of felt like it kind of continued for a time. Then a dim, almost imperceptible, iridescently outlined bird rose out from the strands and flew. It flew through a dark sky and entered a dim light. And then there was some stuff about some friends of mine, so I'm not going to read that. I don't think it was connected, but I'm going to pass on to vision 4. And I saw pale yellow-green, I saw pale yellow-green-blue hieroglyphs at the bottom of my vision, like a wall. So like, so I'm seeing it. It'd be like, we'd see like, if you're looking at your whole screen, it'd be like the bottom, the very bottom of your screen. And they were old. It was like a little wall. Then I saw a lion of the same coloring. Again, it was like yellow, green, blue, but it was like a hand puppet. So it was like this little lion puppet, and it was just kind of like grasping, like it was a hand puppet, kind of like doing this. And then I saw the hieroglyphs in close-up. But again, like in the first vision, they were kind of passing in and out of my vision, like one over top of the other, like I was seeing them like through my fingers, moving like that, and like through slats. The hieroglyphs were mostly of birds and fish, and they looked ancient. And then I saw one of a horse, but suddenly its head snapped off. Then things began collapsing as the hieroglyphs fell. So all of a sudden, everything seemed to just beginning to collapse. Then to the left, I saw the face of a young boy. He might have been 8 or 9. He had a dark bowl haircut and pale skin. Then slowly his ears grew pointed and his eyes grew. Soon he transformed into this demonic visage. Then came a series of demonic faces morphing one into the other. And the last was inside some kind of tree trunk. The top half of his face was covered, so it was like you just saw the bottom of its face. It was this demonic face, and his tongue was just kind of flapping around. Then it went back to the yellow, green, blue objects, these hieroglyphs, except that they looked like parts of machinery underwater, like from an old sunken submarine. So they, again, looked like old parts. I'm now underwater. They too moved in and out of my visions, like, again, overlapping one over top of the other. Then suddenly something fell, like something big, large, and violent just kind of suddenly fell. And a large metal mine-shaped object had fallen. It was like the old-time mines. It's like that metal ball with the little kind of like little spikes and stuff on it. At least that's how I imagine it. That's how it looked in the dream. I knew it was a mine. And it quickly darted around the seafloor as I was being pulled by some big, great force. And it always stayed just right on the edge of my vision. So as I'd watch it, it was always being like almost in the periphery, but it was darting around very, very violently. Then there seemed to be violence everywhere. My vision was like a camera that moved about quickly. So it was like I was a camera trying to follow all this action and violence that was happening all around me. Then a mysterious creature appeared, but it seemed to be made of like a dark fake fur, like a large bolt of like dark brown like fake fur, like like you'd make a coat or a blanket out of. And it was over top of something, and it had no real discernible head, but it had these large yellow antlers. So imagine like a big fake fur blanket like thrown over top of something, right? So it's kind of thin and waving, and these yellow antlers coming out of the top, and it kind of glided really peacefully, slowly through the water, and then completely away. Then another series of demonic faces ended up flashing again, with a monkey strapped into some sort of contraption inside a submarine with a hose connected to its mouth. And then I saw what looked like an angel. It was translucent, and inside it were stars. So it rose up. Like I said, it rose up next to this monkey. It rose into the sky, and it was, I say it's an angel, but it was some sort of spirit being. It could have been an angel, it could have been something demonic, I couldn't tell, but it was like translucent, it was like clear, and you could see either the stars in it or the stars through it. And it slowly, peacefully glided through space among the stars and away from me. And it had many wings, but its main wings were purple on one side and yellow on the back, and it floated out into space. I don't know. That's what I got. I have no idea about any of this. So if any of you, and if you're going to make like an interpretation, I'd rather not have just like guesswork. These are highly symbolic things are not exactly what they appear to be. So usually visions are not, at least in this case, are not literal. They are representative of something else. So if you feel the Lord has definitively told you something, feel free to write, and I'll pray about it and see if I can receive it or not. So anyway, I'm going to go through the next ones here very shortly, and I will talk to you soon. God bless.